I'm Katrina, and this is Sew and Tare. Today I'm going to show you how to graft. We're going to do a cleft graft. It's probably the easiest graft out there, and teach you a little bit about grafting. I'm not a master grafter. I have my own yard. I've been to some classes. I've helped some people. I highly suggest, if you have a chance getting into an actual grafting course or actual grafting class, especially if it's the California Rare Fruit Growers, do it, because the people who are the instructors for those classes know way more than I do. So I encourage you to do that, and I'll actually put the California Rare Fruit Growers link in the description below. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. And I want to give you kind of the simplistic view of what grafting is. So if you have a named variety of fruit, it's likely a fruit that's grafted. If you have an orange, if you have a maybe not strawberries, stuff like that, but things that grow on trees. So you have an orange, you have a cherry, you have a nectarine, you have a peach, apricots, all of those. If it's a named variety, it's grafted. So how the genetics work with that is, if you plant a pit, you'll get a plant. A pit is a seed, right? So peach pit, cherry pit, something like that. You plant it, you're going to get a tree. Well, if it grows, you're going to get a tree. And that tree is going to grow up and give you that kind of fruit. So it might be like, if you plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree. Whether the apple tastes like the parent, we don't know, right? So just like people's children don't look like their parents sometimes, there you go. Sometimes people's kids look exactly like them. Sometimes you can say, oh, that you have your mother's nose, you have your father's eyes. So they might have hints of the parents in their features. The same thing is true with fruits. So, you know, you have mom flower and a dad pollen, and they get together and make a seed, and the seed basically becomes a tree, which has a fruit that has a unique flavor. It often tastes exactly like the parent, or close enough. Sometimes you get really cool new varieties, and people can breed these and all that. But once you've bred like an apple, it's going to be really, really hard to breed that specific apple ever again, because of the genetic makeup, and the genetic, you know, has to have this from mom, this from dad, and there's lots of different combinations. So the reason why people graft, there's multiple reasons, but one of the reasons why people graft is to get a fruit that they want. So for example, this stick here, well, both these stick, this stick here is Silk Road Nectarine. I failed at grafting this last time onto my nectarine. I did actually get a rootstock. I'm going to graft it onto. I'll show you guys that process. I was trying a new graft, and I figured out that I was doing it wrong. So, or doing it not as well as I should have. So, every other graft I've done, I've done cleft graft and whip and tongue, and every single other graft that I've done has taken. So hopefully this will also take. Is it important that your rootstock be the same width as your scion? This is a scion. Let's back up. Scions are the sticks that you get from a tree of a known variety, and that's the variety you want to grow. And that variety that you want to grow goes onto rootstock. So there are many different types of rootstocks. There's named rootstocks. You can, if you wanted to, plant something and then make that a rootstock. You won't necessarily know its qualities. The advantage about the named rootstocks is they have a known compatibility, they have a known vigor. So are they really fast growing? Are they really slow growing? Sometimes they can stunt growth, and some people do that on purpose. Sometimes, you know, sometimes they have these characteristics. They have different characteristics for, you know, whether they are for dry soil or wet soil or clay soil, or, you know, all the different soil types they do better in. So you can also graft onto a rootstock to grow a variety that you want to grow that doesn't have good roots for the area you want to grow it in. So that would be another reason. So these happen to be fairly close in size, which is good. And the question is, do they have to be the same? No, They don't have to be the same size. And the reason for that is you're going to concentrate on lining up one side of it only. So preferably your scion is smaller or the same size as your rootstock. And you can do it if the rootstock is smaller. It's harder, and you might as well just let that rootstock grow out a little bit more before you add on your preferred fruit. In the meantime, so like I could not get my hands on a cherry rootstock that was of suitable size, so I got a couple that were tiny, and I will be grafting. I got Black Republican is the name of the one that I got. It's awesome. It's so great. And that variety I'll be grafting onto my Stella cherry up front as a placeholder, as a I have this if I need it. Now I know next year it's going to be at the Scion exchanges. I'll be able to get it again even if that doesn't work. But I was really hoping to get a rootstock. But it didn't happen. And I did not plant cherries last year. So in order to make this happen, you need a stick of the variety that you want. These are collected over winter when things are not growing yet. And then, you know, they're dormant. And so this is dormant, your rootstock is dormant. And then when your rootstock starts growing again, this will already be on it, and it will shoot some energy into this stick, this scion, and then this will grow. So that's the general process. For this to grow, the inner bark, the cambium, has to line up. It is like a single cell thick. It's not very wide, so it has to line up. So there's a couple ways you can make that. Well, there's really one way that you can make that happen that will work pretty much every time. Instead of trying to line up things perfectly, you line it up and then you tilt it a little bit, and then you know that at some point that crosses in two places because this has some on this side and some on this side. That's one way to do it. Another thing you can do to get a better potential for that is to make your cuts a certain way, and we'll get into that. I think I'm going to put this into two different videos. The first video will be kind of background what to do, and the second video will be actually doing it. I think that will probably work better. That way people don't get overwhelmed. You can look at the instructions and go over that again, and then we'll actually do it a few times. It'll all be today for me, but I think that might be a better setup. All right, so what do you need to graft? Hopefully you have your sticks. If you collected them a while ago, or you're planning on collecting them, collect them in the dormancy. This video is only for the type of tree that goes dormant, so they lose their leaves in winter. Greenwood grafting can be different, and I have not done that yet. So it's the same basic principles will apply. You want the cambium to line up, but I think there's some other things that need to happen. So you need that. You need some sort of tape, so buddy tape, which I was going to show you guys. It's in a different video. I'll put a link up here to a previous grafting video that I did. And buddy tape is a stretchy tape, and then you can use masking tape. And I just started using masking tape. I've done a couple of them so far, and the reasoning for using this makes sense to me. And I'll go through that. So masking tape is a little stronger. It doesn't stretch like buddy tape does. Buddy tape stretches quite a bit. It's like paraffin. And so you're going to need that because you want to actually tape the graft together. Tape it together in one, underneath the graft. You want to hold it quite well. And then the other goal, whichever tape you use, is to keep excess moisture from going into those areas because they're basically open wounds while they heal. And you can use this or the buddy tape for that. And so the skin, the bark of this, I mean, you don't need to protect that unless, hopefully you're not having it in direct sunlight in hot conditions right after you graft. It's not right practices, but in case you do that, you might want to use the paraffin. But I'm going to be using this, and then the other thing you want is some sort of writing utensil, a Sharpie, so that you could actually label what you have. If you don't label it now, you will not remember. Trust me. All right. You're also going to need some of these, and you're going to want to spray them with some sort of disinfectant. So whether that's something like Lysol or something, or just alcohol. Alcohol works just fine. You know, like the rubbing alcohol. Disinfect them and use these. Same thing with your grafting knife. So you can use a pocket knife if that's all you have. However, it's going to get a better connection if you use a grafting knife. And a grafting knife is special. It's beveled only on one side. I'm going to move this. So a grafting knife is beveled only on one side. This is the one I have. There's several different kinds. And so this is flat on that edge and beveled on that edge. You can see, I think you can see probably right there. See how there's a light on the edge? That's the bevel. See how that one doesn't have it? It's all shiny. That's flat. And then this is beveled. You can kind of see it right there. Beveled is the edge of the knife that curves in, or angles in. And the reason why you want only one side beveled is you're going to be having a straighter cut on that side that they connect if you use a beveled knife. Now, I'm right-handed. There are multiple knives out there that are right-handed knives. If you're left-handed, you might struggle finding them. You might make your own. They do exist out there, but I know people that can make their own by just like sharpening the other side and, and flattening out the other side. Let's see, what else do you need to know? This one has a little copper, I don't know what it's called. It's a little copper deal. It's not a knife. It's not a knife. It's a kind of like a pry thing, so that you can get in between the bark and the wood for other ways of grafting. And why it's copper is because copper is it kills viruses. So it protects your trees from getting that virus. The goal is to cut the scion into a point, and into a, it's going to be cut on this side and on this side, and then on the rootstock it will just have a slit, and then the point will go in there. We'll line up the cambium and tilt it a little bit, and then tape the bottom and move on. So I hope that gives some background. If I forgot anything, I will put it in part 2, and we will go from there. So thank you for watching, and we will do part 2 here coming up.